It's a bird! It's a plane! No, it's Potential Captain! Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Potential Captain is a unique Space Marine loadout. It takes the idea of the standard Smash Captain, but gives it a weapon with better abilities, but a worse weapon save. You also trade out your amazing plasma pistol for a shield that gives you 1 extra wound. Now, you may ask, is this trade-off worth it? My answer is, it's worth it enough to start a unique kit bash, but not finish it. So, this kit bash has been going on for so long that this Space Marine Captain with a jump pack actually came out, and I started and finished this one before finishing this Captain with jump pack and relic shield. But now that we have an official model with the best drip, it might be time to put this project by the wayside and go with the official model. So let's get started building and let's give it a look-see. So, let's take a look at the sprue, see if there are any surprises. That's a nice looking but boring Captain head. I think I'll instead take one from the Blood Angels Captain kit. I've been saving this fancy helmet for a rainy day, and I suppose this will be the time we use it. Starting the model, I didn't expect any real issues out of the box. It looked pretty well like the old Smash Captain. It looked pretty well like all the big Primaris kits at this point in time. The leg and the body's fitting weird together. Arms are free-flowing so you can glue on other weapons, swap them out, easy kit bashing, no problem. However, as we'll see in a sec, I did not expect how much trouble I would have with that left leg. See, what ended up happening was when I tried gluing it onto the body, it just wouldn't fit. And I couldn't figure out why. I fiddled with it, tried sticking it all over the place, and it just didn't fit together real smooth. I did manage to get it in place better once I stuck the right leg in to guide it in. Now, the right leg completing that set there really did make a difference, but it did end up falling apart a couple more times. However, once we got the rest of the body on, no harm, no foul, just had to wait for it to dry. Went ahead and glued it onto its handy-dandy tactical rock, and no problems moving forward from that. I will say I was surprised that the Thunderhammer wrist had its own cutout to fit into the wrist. I did expect it to be like the Firstborn kits, where the loose wrist would just glue onto the arm. That was a design choice I really liked about the Firstborn kits, because it allowed you to swap out weapons. Made it easy to kit bash as well. If you liked a sword or a hammer from another kit, all you had to do was glue it onto that flat wrist. I did notice some pretty bad mold lines on the hammer, so I did try to smooth those down. Mixed results, but it did look better by the end. After that point, went ahead and pulled out the Blood Angels Captain head, glued it onto the Jump Captain body. Voila! There he is, firmly grasping that hammer and ready, almost ready, to hit the front lines. Beautiful. As soon as we glue that last shield in, the model is complete, ready to hit the battlefield, except for the fact that we gotta come up with some kind of paint scheme. I did come up with an idea while I was waiting in line at the Warhammer store, but overall, that is a pretty fancy looking model. I do think that its tabletop utility will be limited by the fact that I personally think the Thunderhammer and the shield is not as appealing as the Power Fist and the Plasma Weapon. However, I will say this model has some good drip. Put it up against my drippiest Captain and my yet uncompleted kit bash, and I think overall it is in a pretty nice spot design-wise. I've just tried zenithaling it using a color combination Rogue Hobbies discussed in a video yesterday, and I gotta say, this looks pretty darn good. Again, she knows what she's talking about because this is literally her paint. I'll link the video down in the description. I think this is a good start. However, let's see if we can punch up that saturation with some John Deere yellow. All right, right idea, wrong paint. You see why? Look how splotchy that John Deere yellow came out all over the model. So I more or less have the transition I was looking for, and I think I did right in the type of bright yellow I want to use. But look at that! Look at all those splotches! It looks pretty darn gross. So I'll have to think of a way to try to save it. This was not an issue at all for the John Deere Goliath. The yellow came out smooth. Yeah, smooth application, no problem. So I'm actually surprised how blotchy and inky it looks. Maybe I did something wrong with the temperature. Maybe I shook it too long or not long enough. I'm not quite sure. I'll have to do some digging on that. As I'm thinking about it, maybe I should have tried using Tooth & Coat's Craven Yellow in an airbrush instead. It's kinda on that same wavelength, but that'll be a good project for another day. I got some ideas on how to save the transition with Craven Yellow, get rid of some of those splotches, but that'll have to be another video. Well, hey, thanks so much for spending your time with me. I think I got on the right track for some priming. I think we got a good looking captain here. And I think we got a good idea to try to save the captain from these splotches. So what did you think? Do you plan on buying the Smash Captain for yourself? How would you have primed this model your way? Do you plan on getting one of these guys from the tabletop, or do you prefer Power Fist and Plasma Pistol? Let me know down below. Adios, broski. Bye.